Hey, this is Notser, and we're going to be talking about some developer blog post adjustments to ships that have been tested. Alaska, Jean Bar, Le Terrible, British destroyers. Game in the background is myself in the Tier 10 French Battleship, Republique, on the map Trap. The game is competitive up until the very last moment. The first ship we'll talk about, the Alaska. So, the Alaska right now, prior to any changes, the identity is 305mm guns. It has fairly slow shell arc, so over distance it's going to be harder to hit a target that's moving. They can maneuver, you get the idea. But the 305mm guns allow it to penetrate the armor of angled targets a little bit more effectively than the base 203 that you expect from the American cruisers. And it's appreciated. It's got great AA protection. It has radar, and I went a full maneuverability build, so I have a rudder shift time of like 6.6 seconds. It's very difficult to hit at range because of this, and it's fun. I enjoy it. There are definitely weaknesses. The shells love to overpin really hard, and they move slow. So over distance, you're gonna lose the chance to hit the targets as consistently as something like the Soviet cruisers because it doesn't have lasers for guns. The Alaska changes are to rudder shift time. It's going from 13.8 to 13.1. So it should roughly allow you to get to 6 seconds even on your rudder if you choose to invest fully in it. Because it's a cruiser, you can also equip that second rudder module that improves it even more. I really enjoy that build, but we'll see what happens from this. The concealment range of the ship is going from 16.2 to 15.5 base. Now, that's not a huge change, 700 meters, but it should allow us to get a little bit closer to a reasonable concealment because the concealment was, awful. It is a cruiser, so that commander skill does not benefit as much as a battleship. Because I couldn't get anywhere in the ballpark of the radar range, because it is a short-range American, I just invested in maneuverability and it worked out. Both stats are being buffed, so I think both strategies are valid. I'll have to see how valid they are, but it's a welcome change. Smoke firing is going to be improved. It's going from 12.78 kilometers to 12.09. Not really a big change, and honestly, I didn't find myself sitting in smoke all that often, if I'm going to be completely honest with you. The turret traverse is being improved from 5 degrees per second to 6, which is great, and the firing angles are being increased. So this was one issue that some CCs had, and I also noticed. It was difficult to bring all 3 gun turrets to bear as often as you would like. Now, my maneuverability build sort of compensated for that and allowed me to maneuver the ship more easily and effectively. But this should allow it to be a little bit more effective, more consistently, regardless of the build type. One nerf, though, to the Alaska, and this is a big nerf. Alaska will no longer benefit from the cruiser duration for fire, which is 30 seconds. It now gets something in between a battleship and a cruiser. It's now 45 seconds, and this might not sound like a significant change. But I think this is because as that cruiser, I was able to just casually allow fire to burn for a very short duration without investing anything else, signal flags or anything like that, and I liked it. It was really nice to have the 30 seconds, so I am sad that that's going away. I can't say that it's a huge change though, because I'm a very small, nimble cruiser at Tier 9. Most of the fire starters, they're flinging it at battleships already. It doesn't really happen that often, but I just want to let you all know they did nerf a aspect to the ship in order to get these buffs. So I think the buffs are worth it. I don't think the nerf is that big of a deal, but that's what's on the table. Now, let's talk about Jean Bar. Jean Bar is a great ship. I just posted my video yesterday. No, it did not include the gameplay of this new adjusted Jean Bar. All they did is they reduced the accuracy of the guns from 2.0 Sigma to 1.9. Obviously, that's a disappointment. I read a lot of comments. Oh, why can't we have a low gun, high accurate ship? I don't think it matters with main battery reload. If it didn't have main battery reload, I would definitely feel like this is a disappointing change to it. But the main battery reload module, that consumable, is incredibly powerful. I mean, incredibly powerful. you should easily be able to do just a massive amount of damage and still enjoy the ship. It is a slight nerf though. I want to see that version before I make my review, but I'm still confident it's going to be fun. Now, for the much larger French change, Le Terrible, the Tier 8 Premium French Destroyer that I've been testing, it is getting a significant amount of tweaks. First major tweak, the main battery reload is going from 7 seconds default to 6. I really like that. The firing range of the guns is being increased by 1 kilometer from 11.24 to 12.27. I invested in advanced firing training in my testing, and I found that that made it more effective. And honestly, I think this is great, but I still don't think that you're going to play this ship without advanced firing training. And the reason I say that is for a later change. The turret traverse speed is going from 7 degrees per second to 10, a massive buff. I might actually be able to not have to use expert marksman, which would be a DPS increase because I can invest those 2 points into something like Adrenaline Rush. Very happy for that change. The firing angles of the gun turrets have been improved, and most notably, the number 5 gun. The number 5 gun basically needed a perfect broadside to come online. It was incredibly infuriating and absolutely welcome change. I want to see exactly the angle of improvement, but it's nice that they're noting it. They're going to change out the torpedo systems completely. They're going to go from a 9-kilometer range torpedo to an 8-kilometer range torpedo that recharges in 77 seconds instead of 90 seconds, so you can be aggressive. You only get 3 torpedoes per launcher, and it has sort of that Benson, or what was it? Was it Farragut or Mahan? One of the American ships had a neutral launcher and then 1 launcher per side. That's the design for the French, and you've got 9 total torpedoes. I like the faster recharge. I don't like the reduced range. And the stats on the torpedoes are 18,400 damage, range of 8 kilometers, visibility of 1.4 kilometers, speed 65 knots. All of that is, fine, usable. It's just going to be a lot tighter on the maximum improved concealed part of the ship, which is, I think, 7.1 kilometers. So you basically have less than a kilometer to play with for your torpedoes. And probably the biggest change that they have done, they are removing smoke generator from the ship. There's no compensation. They're just taking it away. And this is a massive change. This will be the first, I think it's the first DD that is forced to not have smoke. Other examples of this, you could play something like the Japanese destroyers and use torpedo reload booster, but that was your choice, whether you use that or smoke. For the Soviet destroyers, the main line, you had the choice to choose between the heal consumable, which I love, it allows you to openly fire and for people to fire on you and be spotted, or smoke, which is more for objective control. This is forced to not have smoke, so you can't force it into an objective control role. It's much more designed around openly firing and being fired openly, and I've played a little bit of that gameplay. It is fun. I don't know that they've compensated enough, though, for removing completely the skill from the ship. I'm really hesitant on this one, but we'll see. I'm curious to test it. And I already felt like that identity wasn't there. You weren't camping in smoke. You were more just existing in the world, and it was fun. I'm curious to see how that works out. And then finally, the most significant change is to the British destroyer line. I don't know that they needed it, but what Wargaming has decided to do, and I appreciate this change, is they are going to unify the hydroacoustic design from Tier 6 to Tier 10. And that also includes that premium Tier 8 Cossack. Every single tier that has hydro equipped for the British line will use a standard 3-kilometer range torpedo, 3-kilometer range ship detection. This is vastly superior to the prior design because the Tier 6, 7, and 8 hydro were basically useless. They had very little increase in the detection range over your base range on torpedoes and ships. it was really awkward because you felt like this was a wasted skill. But now it's always useful from tier 6 all the way to tier 10. A very, very welcome change. Thank you, Wargaming. For the Jutland and the Daring, they are improving the ricochet angles of the AP shell. This is in compensation for the 113mm guns, which will require inertia fuse high explosive to do damage to, DDs with 19mm of armor. They feel like if they do this, then it's not forcing you to invest in inertia fuse high explosive. I feel like it would be too situational, and players would exploit the fact that you're firing AP to basically do damage. I know I already do this against the British cruisers, where I refuse to give them an angle that their AP will pin, and it generally works out very well for me. I would hazard a guess that similar playstyle will develop against the Jutland and the Daring, so I would probably still invest in inertia fuse, but that's a change. I'm curious to see how the AP actually works. It is an improvement. They also made mention of a heal consumable coming online, and I believe this is just for the Jutland and the Daring. It is your typical heal that you expect, and your standard allotment is 1 standard, 2 premium, and they last for 14 seconds. I don't know how to feel about this because I honestly didn't feel like they needed anything. I felt like they were incredibly effective and incredibly fun to play. They still have that short duration smoke. They still have that baked-in acceleration. They still have the British fire chance, and they still have the single-launch torpedo systems. They also made mention of a nerf to the smoke systems for the British, just globally. Tiers 2 to Tier 10, including the Cossack, will have an increased reload time of 10 seconds on their smoke generator. This is a significant nerf, in my opinion. This window was just perfect to exploit the radar meta, where a enemy cruiser, doesn't matter what cruiser, would set up a radar ambush, and you would run right into it, right? And you use your smoke, and they're exploiting that fact. They're going to take advantage of it. Okay, well, you've got the British acceleration, so they're going to miss their first couple shells on you. Absolutely. They're just not used to that kind of acceleration built into it. Plus, the rudder is outstanding. You sort of get 2 modules for 1 with them, and it's great. And then when you relocate, you can set up a new smoke, basically as the enemy's radar is finishing, and this provides you the perfect window to take the objective or to do damage from. Now, that is going to be a little delayed, and it won't feel quite as easy to counter. All of the changes are pretty exciting, honestly. I feel like they're learning from past experiences how to tweak ships. I am very hesitant, though, on the smoke generator removal from the Terrible. It is a very interesting change. I don't know that the community is 100% comfortable without smoke on a DD. We'll have to see. I can't wait to play it. Obviously, that'll help decide if it's really a good move and whether the ship needs more improvements because of the removal. I'll have to pay attention to that. But regardless, I'm very excited to play these new versions. I feel like Bart is ready to go. I feel like Alaska is definitely getting there and definitely getting into that format. And the British DDs, come on, destroyers. Live up to the hype, baby. You know you can be good. I've loved your design since they've added the acceleration and the quick rearm on the smoke. It was wonderful changes, absolutely perfect changes, Wargaming. Please, please don't screw this up. It is a line that is very fun. All of you will enjoy it. It is going to feel different, but it's going to feel unique and exciting. And that's all we can ask for a brand new line. And it's great that it's attached to the Brits because the battleships, you fire a lot of HE, which is fun for some, but the more compelling gameplay, especially for DD captains, is the ability to use all of your tools in concert against the enemy, and it's always fun. I love that aspect. Torpedoes, guns, smoke, speed, objective control, whatever it takes, it's all really exciting, and I can't wait. I can't wait for the Brits to come out. I hope you're as excited as I am. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I'll catch you next time.